Hi, my name is Alan Gleeson, the CEO of Contento, and your host for this episode of SaaStock's Partner Interviews with Ben Faust, Senior Team Manager, Tax Technology at Avalara. So Ben, I'd love to get a little bit of an introduction to kick this off about yourself initially, and then tell us a little bit about Avalara.
Sure. Thank you, Alan. So, I lead the sales team here at Avalara in EMEA. I've been at Avalara for about 5 years, so I've seen a fair amount of growth, in particular internationally for Avalara. Really happy to be at SaaStock today.
So tell us a little bit about what Avalara actually do. What's the core offering?
Sure. So Avalara is really focused on one thing, and that is making tax compliance simpler for businesses to navigate and to handle as they grow.
Okay, dig into that a little bit more. So is it about different jurisdictions, tax? Is it to do with SaaS businesses transacting overseas? What's the kind of exact...
Sure. Well, I guess the great thing for us at Avalara is that you can't really beat the tax man. So taxes are everywhere. Every business at some point in their journey is going to have to face fairly significant tax complications, especially as they grow and scale internationally. So you mentioned jurisdictions. That is one thing that absolutely comes into play. Every country will treat taxes differently depending on the type of business you are, who you sell to, what you sell, how you sell, other finer points like whether or not you're incorporated within the country or not. So it can get pretty complicated pretty quickly, and our job is to take all that complication away and let businesses focus on generating revenue.
Which is great, right? It's taking away a lot of headaches as companies scale. Is there a particular sweet spot in terms of ideal customer profile or size? Is this for all SaaS companies or those that are further along on their journey?
So interestingly, not so much. And the reason why we're pretty prevalent in the SaaS space is that you do find that one of the beauties of launching a SaaS business is how quickly you can scale across borders, right? You can sell everywhere internationally from day dot. So really it does get to a point where, if you are looking at selling to international companies that way, you're going to encounter tax complications pretty quickly. Often you'll be working with an accountant, a tax advisor, but we like to be part of every step of the journey. So in terms of size, it's actually a really difficult one to answer for us because it just depends on the company strategy that we're working with.
No, makes a lot of sense. You touched on it a little bit about growth, right? So it's been a tricky couple of years for tech companies. Can you share some data around either revenue or employee numbers or growth trajectories or any data on kind of the growth? Yeah,
sure. So it's been certainly interesting few years. I think, starting from COVID. Well, in fact, no, let me take it back a little bit. So operating in the tax space does give, I suppose, a little bit of a further complication to the journey that I think a lot of SaaS companies have seen in recent years, because like I said, everybody needs to pay taxes, right? And everybody needs to get across those. So, businesses that might have been our customers who might have been simply navigating their challenges will still have been facing tax complications along the way. And we've been there to support them throughout. But that being said, again, there are other complications within the tax space that create windfalls for our business. So we had the Wayfair case in 2018, which meant that every single business that was selling into the United States, regardless of where they were based, all of a sudden had to start adding taxes to their invoices. So looking back at 2018, that was a really big windfall moment for companies, for Avalara, because companies all around the world all of a sudden had to start worrying about the US, whereas before it was only if they were incorporated in the US. And then Brexit came along, which also, created a lot of tax complications, specifically here in EMEA and in Europe, and then also for US businesses trying to sell into Europe and into the UK. So things did change quite a lot for our customers then, and again, create a bit of a windfall for us. And then the COVID time was really quite a good period for us, but then you're right, things started to slow down a little bit, and the sector faced quite a few challenges. So I think, like a lot of other businesses in our space, we really focused on expanding horizontally, right, to address this. And I think we did a pretty good job, again, with the laser focus of simplifying taxes, but doing it for smaller businesses than before and bigger businesses than before, and refocusing the type of businesses that we were acquiring and the products that we were developing to fit those, and hugely importantly, changing the way and evolving the way that we operated with partners was really crucial to our growth. And all that to say that despite the headwinds that we've been seeing in recent years in the sector, Avalara has continued to grow fairly significantly throughout.
Excellent. So in some ways you're a beneficiary of obviously compliance and tax changes internationally, which in rockier periods for others have been to your advantage, I guess. So that's good fortune, but that alone isn't enough to drive growth. Clearly, there's got to be a good value proposition backing that up as well. Is it a mix of software and professional services, or just give a bit of colour to the actual service offering in kind of the details? Yeah,
so that's a really good question. So taxes are scary, right? A lot of our customers are really tremendously grateful for the amount of services that we do provide. So we have always been very service heavy, because I think when you find a business of any size that wants to have this actually quite crucial and scary topic solved for them, they want to be really well accompanied. So we do provide a lot of customer service, a lot of customer support, a lot of account management, and additional auxiliary professional services. So for example, we do have a professional services team that can help businesses understand their tax obligations. So even from the very beginning, if you're a business, again, a SaaS company, growing internationally, might not have any idea what their requirements will be in all the countries they're trying to sell in. How is Singapore different from the United States? We can help them understand that. We can help them identify their nexus in the United States. We can help classify their goods and services. And if you are selling hardware alongside it, then we can help get the correct tariff codes, for example. So all of that services area is absolutely crucial to our customer success. So we're not just selling software.
But I guess it also future-proofs them on their journey, right? If they start hitting Series B, C, and D kind of milestones and have due diligence coming in, you want to make sure that there's no skeletons in the closet when it comes to sort of tax compliance. So I guess that also de-risks it for the clients, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Changing tack just a little bit, talking about SaaStock. Is this your first time at SaaStock, actually?
It is my first time at SaaStock,
First impressions?
Yeah, I think it's great. We've had some really good conversations so far. Really interesting to have different levels of discussions with different types of founders and businesses that are here. We've had quite a lot of interest in our booth. Might be because we're incredibly orange and we do stand out quite a bit. But it's pretty good. And it is our third time here.
Okay.
So it's my first time, but Avalara as a business has been here before. Yeah.
Good. That's good to hear. What made you choose SaaStock, or maybe your colleagues, what made you actually decide, let's go and exhibit?
SaaS is our biggest sector. So, again, I think drawing back down to the fact that SaaS businesses inherently and naturally sell internationally very quickly, makes it a very core sector for us to operate in. And SaaS is in the name of SaaStock, so we thought it'd be a great place to be.
And of course the fact it's in Dublin helps, I guess. It gives you an opportunity to come over here for a couple of days.
Exactly, it's not too far from our international headquarters, yeah.
Excellent. What are your goals from the partnership and the event? So how will you kind of look back on this and measure the success of the trip?
Yeah, so I think there are multiple elements of this. I think firstly, obviously, we want to have positive conversations with customers and prospects.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it is identifying and engaging with our customer base and our prospect base, our existing one. However, I think there's another really interesting side to SaaStock is that a lot of the pre-seed and early stage founders of today are going to face these complexities in the future. So there is a very crucial awareness piece for us as well in this.
I think that's actually a key piece. It's not just about having a booth here, it's just having conversations, raising awareness, and it's part of the journey that most SaaS companies aspire to, is to get funded and go through the various milestones. So the earlier thinking about some of these topics, the better, I think. So that's a key part of it. I think that's pretty much it from us. I guess if you were other founders in UK or Europe thinking about partnering with SaaStock and attending, any tips or advice or any thoughts for those?
I mean, I think we're doing something really cool here, which is on the partnership side. So working with ChargeBee and Molly to host a pretty cool event afterwards. I think, and this is something I'm just going to touch on your previous question, which is actually a really cool part of SaaStock is also engaging with partners, and partnerships being really crucial to today's SaaS business and how you're going to evolve and meet the challenges of today's market context. My advice is, don't come here just to talk to founders. Come here to build partnerships, to meet your partners, and see what's going on in that space as well.
I think to your kind of point on that, you can't be pressed in the flesh and meeting people, particularly when a lot of us are working remotely. You can't beat FaceTime, having a cup of coffee, having a beer.
Exactly.
It helps kind of solidify relationships, but also kind of to lay some good foundations. And my parting shot is there a free ticket for me for tonight's event, or is it
I've got one right here for you.
Fully locked up. Listen, it was wonderful. Learned a lot. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you, Alan.